The Barclay Downs neighborhood is one of the premier neighborhoods in all of Charlotte. It's located about 6 miles south of Uptown, right next to the South Park Mall. It's packed with amenities, beautiful homes on large lots. In this video, I'm going to cover all of the things that people love about the Barclay Downs neighborhood, as well as 3 negatives, in my opinion at least. I have a lot of information to share with you, so let's get started. Hey, if you're looking for one of the best neighborhoods in all of Charlotte to live in, look no further, I have you covered. I'm going to talk today about a neighborhood called Barclay Downs. It's in South Charlotte. It's one of the premier neighborhoods. It has so many things to offer, great schools, lots of amenities, beautiful homes. It's central to almost everything. There's just a lot of really good pluses about the neighborhood. All right, so let's dive in. According to niche.com, Barclay Downs ranks 31 out of 152 neighborhoods in Charlotte. It ranks even higher, 23 out of 152, as the best neighborhood for young professionals, and it's 34 best places to live for families. Now, only 25% of people that live in Barclay Downs have children, which you have to look at the bigger picture. There are a lot of condos and apartments. The single family homes there is really what I'm going to focus on in this video. There's a different demographic, I think, for what kind of people are living in the neighborhood, just simply because of prices, which I'll get to as well. All right, so Barclay Downs, it's 6 miles from Uptown. It's going to take maybe 15, 20 minutes with no traffic to get there. The streets that border this neighborhood, you have Fairview to the south, Sharon and Colony roads to the east, and then Park Road to the west. And there's 2 different zip codes actually that are in this Barclay Downs neighborhood, which isn't a very big area. 28209 and 28211. The South Park Mall is also located in Barclay Downs. That actually has a different zip code, but that's kind of not that important. The Barclay Downs neighborhood, it really gives like a mix of urban and suburban. So the residential section, you have stately homes with that quintessential Southern charm, Southern feel to them when you're walking, driving through the neighborhood. And you also have the South Park Mall, which is one of the larger malls in the area. Then you have the second largest business park in Charlotte, and that really is central around Carnegie Boulevard. And so the combination of those 3, residential living of apartments, have these businesses there, really offers a good mix of that urban suburban feel. So within the business park, among those companies that have an office there, Coca-Cola and Nucor. Nucor is the country's largest steel manufacturer and recycler. They have an office there, and there's a lot of others. There's actually several real estate offices there. Some closing attorneys are located in that Carnegie Boulevard business park area. And obviously you have the mall. And so the mall alone drives a lot of traffic every day. Some of the luxury brands that are in South Park Mall, you have Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Balenciaga, Alexander McQueen, Rolex, Tiffany, places like that. I'm not a big shopper. I don't actually go to South Park Mall a whole lot, but you definitely have those options, and it's basically in your backyard when you're living there. So for restaurants too, you have a really good variety of restaurant options. Some of the notable ones, you have Del Frisco's, Baku, 131 Main, Bricktops, Roosters, Wood-Fired Chicken, the Cowfish Sushi Burger Bar, and there are plenty of others as well. So you're gonna have a lot of amenities within walking distance to you, but yet you have this truly suburban neighborhood as well. Some of the other amenities that the Barclay Downs neighborhood has to offer, right next to South Park Mall, you have the Symphony Park, which is a covered amphitheater. It's pretty cool. This summertime, the Charlotte Symphony, they do free concerts there where you can just go, you can bring your own wine and really just hang out. It's a good family event. And they also do events throughout the year, even in the fall. So really cool place to check out. You have a couple breweries there, maybe not as many as some of the other areas in Charlotte, but you have Suffolk Punch, which is also right next to the mall, and Legion Brewery also has a location in this area. So you also have access to green spaces. One of the larger parks in all of Charlotte is Road Park. It's not technically in Barclay Downs, but it's basically just across the street. You also have Briar Creek Greenway and the little Sugar Creek Greenway. So you do have pretty good access to, get out and just enjoy the weather that we have down here. Park Road Park, it's a 122 acre park. They have 12 lighted tennis courts, 8 basketball courts, 2 horseshoe pits, concession stands. They have baseball, softball fields, volleyball courts, walking trails, and they have a lake that you can just walk around. Just fun. We've been there several times just to kind of do that and get some fresh air. There's like roughly 5,800 people that live in the Barclay Downs neighborhood. It's not a large area. It's maybe I think it's like 1.6 square miles. They have a swim and racquetball club. And so just a heads up, if you are new to the South in general, swim teams are a huge deal and they get kids involved at a very young age. And I think it's great. It's just an eye opener. I had no idea that swimming was such a competitive sport. It's a big deal around here, and you have neighborhoods that compete against other neighborhoods in the summertime for a swim team. So it was pretty cool just to see all that stuff now that, you know, we have young children. Even if you don't have kids that are going to compete in this, it's sort of a very active place to just hang out and just go to. You know, it gets hot here in the summer, and so being able to use a pool for several months out of the year is pretty nice. So the Barclay Downs Swim and Racket Club, it is free. However, there is a wait list, but it's pretty much mainly for the people that live in the neighborhood and some of the people that live nearby. You also have, right next to Barclay Downs, right across the street basically, is the Charlotte Regional Library, and so that is nice to have access to that as well. There's roughly 5,800 people that live in Barclay Downs. 59% are renters. The median income, so they say, is $130,000, which is 62% higher than the national median of roughly $75,000. Now, I actually think that number is really low, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. 38% of the people are above 45 years old. So the median age is just over 40 versus the median age for all of Charlotte is a little bit younger. It's closer to 34 years old. So you do have some people that maybe bought into the neighborhood years ago and they're empty nesters. Maybe a spouse has passed away, and so it's just them living in the home. And so there is a little bit of that in some of these more established neighborhoods in Charlotte. Now, only 25% of the households have children, which when I read that, it does seem to be a little bit low. I do think that it has to do with a good number of apartments there. There's a good amount of like studio 1 and 2 bedroom apartments for like those younger professionals or corporate executives who may just need a place to stay when they're in Charlotte for a little while. You also have some condo communities. And then with those empty nesters, that I think factors into this. But the primary buyers, I would say, just simply from a price standpoint, tend to be those dual income households, likely maybe with children. You could rent a studio apartment for roughly $1,300 a month, but it's like 400 to 500 square feet. So 2, 3 bedroom apartments, I think you're going to be in the mid 2s. I think the median is close to around $3,300 per month right now. But if you wanted to rent a house there, you could easily be paying $6,000 to $7,000 to rent a single family home. So this is a pretty affluent neighborhood. Part of that is because of just overall proximity, but also the school districts are very highly rated. And so that obviously plays into the pricing. So there are roughly 1,200 single family homes. It's not that many, and only about 30 to maybe 40 of them turn over and sell a year. It's a very sought after neighborhood. And if you are interested in getting into this neighborhood, you really need to be on the pulse of it because things will sell very quickly. So I mentioned a little bit about the schools being highly rated. So you have Selwyn Elementary, Alexander Graham Middle School, and then Myers Park is the high school. So Myers Park, it is definitely one of the premier public school systems in Charlotte. A lot of the home values have really, followed where that school district is. Now, there are plenty of other schools, really, a lot of charter schools in the area, as well as private schools. But the Myers Park School District is very highly rated. Now, you have the number 3 ranked charter school in the state. That's actually Metrolina Regional Scholars. They have a K through 8 school. And then for private schools, you're close to a lot. So you have Providence Day, which is the number 1 ranked private school in Charlotte. I think it's number 3 in the state. You have Charlotte Country Day, Charlotte Latin, and Charlotte Christian. Now, if you're curious as to how much you would pay to go to those private schools, it's roughly $2,000 to $33,000 per year, depending on the grade of the child. So to give you an idea of what people pay. Now, there are no school taxes here in North Carolina. We only pay property taxes, unlike some states up north, for example, where there's two separate. You have a property tax bill as well as a school tax bill. So we don't do that here. All right, so now let's talk about the homes. The homes, a lot of these homes, the neighborhood was really built in the late 50s through the mid 60s, so that's really the base of the neighborhood. A lot of them were brick ranches. Now, this part of Charlotte has historically been a little more affluent, and so the lots are large here. You have often a 100-foot wide lot. That's at least double what many of the city lots are in Charlotte. So you have, that offers a lot of privacy, and it just adds a little bit maybe more to the character of a neighborhood, some more tree line, canopies, things like that. A lot of the homes are mostly brick ranches. The lot size, I think the median is roughly like a half an acre. They don't get incredibly large. I think the max may be like 0.8 acres. Interestingly, with all of the character that the neighborhood has, you actually don't have a lot of sidewalks on the interior neighborhood streets. They just didn't build those into the neighborhoods. Once you get out on the main streets, of course, they're busier roads. You do have sidewalks to walk on, but so that would be one con. There's three cons to the neighborhood, and that's one of them. I don't think it's a big one, honestly, in the big picture of things, because there's so many other things to outweigh that, and no neighborhood is really perfect. So, all right, now for the prices of these homes. How much does it cost to live in Barclay Downs? All right, so right now the median single family home is a 4-bed, 4-bath, 3,400 square foot, just under half an acre. The median age is still 1962, so we do have some tear downs. There's a lot of new construction that's happening in that neighborhood and really throughout Charlotte. The median price is $1.3 million right now. Now that goes back basically for the past year, and that the median price per square foot is $427 per foot. So like I said, larger lots is a big plus. You have tear down, new construction. Those tear downs, if you're going to have a new home in Barclay Downs, you're going to be at $2 million. Some of these, lots, or some of these homes, like for example, niche.com says the median home price in Barclay Downs is $748,000. That is completely not accurate. I think that may take into account some of those condo sales, but if we're just looking at single family homes, you will likely need to pay $800,000, and either that home is a 1,700 square foot home that needs a total renovation, or you can tear it down, but that's still a relatively small house, especially for that price. That's typically going to mean larger family where you need more space than 1,700 square feet. And so that means either you're doing a huge, massive renovation, or you're just going to tear it down and build up. And this neighborhood can definitely support that. You have prices that go up to $3 million right now, and I think that that's likely just going to increase over time. There's just slow turnover because of people not wanting to really sell. So realistically, you are going to easily be over $1 million for something that's livable. If you want a newer house, 2-story, with garages and all the bells and whistles, so to speak, you're going to be, I think, $2 million, maybe like 1.8, 1.7 if you have a smaller house. So a lot of that depends on the finishes as well as the size of the home, obviously, but just to give you an idea. So yeah, under $1 million, you're looking at like a 1,400 to 1,700 square foot home that needs a lot of work. Maybe you can catch that at like, 750 or something. So 20 years ago, that was the time to get into the neighborhood. The median price 20 years ago was only $290,000, which is kind of wild to think about. Now, as I mentioned before, most of the websites online show the median household income at $130,000 for this neighborhood. Now, obviously the stats, anytime you have these large national stats, there's always nuances to it, but let me tell you why that's way off. So with a median price right now of $1.3 million, if you put 20% down, you would be mortgaging still just over $1 million, like $1,040,000. At 6.5%, you would have a mortgage payment of roughly $6,500 per month. You add in taxes and insurance, it's easily $1,000 per month. Now you're at $7,500 per month. You would need, in order to qualify for that mortgage, $7,500 per month, you would need to make $26,000 gross per month, roughly. And so that's roughly $320,000 per year. It's well over, the $130,000 that they're showing. So you have to kind of take that into consideration. I mean, realistically, that's, I think, what type of income you would expect to see out of family purchasing in that neighborhood right now. So now that is the second con for this neighborhood. That's the affordability. Obviously there's always going to be a con to everything. And so naturally, with it being such a prestigious, highly sought after neighborhood with all the amenities and the schools and the shopping and the lots and the nice homes, right? The downside is it's expensive to live there. All right, so property taxes, I mentioned it briefly, but the property taxes in Charlotte, we only have property taxes. So this neighborhood is inside the city of Charlotte. And so they just adjusted the millage rate, which is one of two main components to figuring out how much property taxes someone will pay. They actually lowered the millage rate. It was like 0.96 before, now it's like 0.75. So $4 million assessed value, you would be paying roughly $7,600 a year for property taxes, which really isn't that bad. If you're looking for a neighborhood that's maybe a little bit more affordable, you go just further south, Beverly Woods, that median price is going to drop down to about $720,000. And you're still going to be relatively close to all of these amenities that I just mentioned, with the exception of perhaps that swim and racket club. Like really all of those other amenities you'll have access to. Pretty much the same school district. You also have good quick access to any of those charter schools or the private schools that I mentioned as well. Now to the north, you have Myers Park. So Myers Park is going to be a little bit more expensive. The median price there is $1.85 million. And to the east, you have Foxcroft. Now the median price in Foxcroft is going to be $2.9 million. So it goes up substantially there. Foxcroft and Eastover, they're pretty much the most expensive neighborhoods in all of Charlotte. So you're right there. I mean, you are basically central to everything. And so having that proximity to people, you are in really the most affluent part of Charlotte with easy access to everything you need. Now, one of the more comparable neighborhoods to Barclay Downs is Dilworth. So Dilworth is pretty close in price, at least. The median price right now is 1.3. A little over 1.3. Now that's actually for a smaller home. It's like a 2,800 square foot home. So a little bit smaller, but you are also closer to Uptown and South End. And if you really like being a little bit closer to maybe more of the action in Charlotte, like Dilworth definitely has that as a plus. And another neighborhood that's kind of similar to is Elizabeth. So Elizabeth is just further closer into Uptown, just a little bit over to the east, so kind of like northeast. And yeah, and the median price there is at $1 million. So now traffic, when you're not going during peak drive times, you can get to Uptown. You can also get to Ballantyne or the airport, maybe like 15 to 20 minutes. So that's really not that bad. However, one of the other cons, this is the third con, the last con of this neighborhood, the drive time can more than double if you're going during like rush drive times. So if you're going like 5 o'clock or in the morning, and even some days during the lunch, I mean, you could at least double it. So you have to at least be aware of that. Charlotte, we're one of the top ranked cities for work from home employees. So that is a big plus for people. But look, anywhere that you live in Charlotte is going to have traffic as an obstacle. It just depends on where you need to go. So a lot of it is just very personal to your lifestyle, what you do, where you work, when you need to go to and from work or wherever it is that you're looking to go. So those sorts of things are inevitable, but I would still rank Barclay Downs as one of the premier best places to live. Check it out. Let me know what you think. I'm Chris Phyllis with the HomeWise Group. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Hey, thanks for watching this video. My name is Chris Phyllis with the HomeWise Group, and I help people every day, just like you, relocate to the Charlotte area. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you have on anything real estate related. So until then, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.